Welcome to the Day's Counter, where we bring to you the latest in the world of business and the most competitive news. My name is Lucy Riley, and we take this opportunity to wish all the graduates of the 16th graduation ceremony of Mount Kenya University a happy graduation. Now, we've got lots in store for you, including a guest who will later on join us to talk about tenderpreneurship. But first, take a look at the highlights. Just like riding a bike, Egyptians cycle on top of the Nile. Find out how single mothers are making a living in the Juakali sector. Mount Kenya University celebrates its 16th graduation. Now, the question of the day today is, have you applied for a tender before? How has your tendering and procuring process been for you? Tweet us to @TV47KE and @Lucy_Riley with the hashtag DaysCounterKE. Now, welcome to the business news. Mount Kenya University held its 16th graduation ceremony at the Graduation Pavilion grounds in Thika. This was a hallmark of the institution's growth. Let's take a look at what the chairman had to say.
To join together the two PhD holders, but they transferred to other institutions because I am told that in this university, the regulations of graduating PhD holders is very, very strenuous. I want to urge the management to continue doing the same because that is the way to go. We want our postgraduate students and degree holders to remain competitive in the job market. Recently, the board of directors requested the Vice Chancellor to initiate the process of rebranding of research and postgraduate training at the university. And in this, we have committed a lot of financial resources in order to ensure that the training in this area is not doubtable in the market at all. I want to say that we have continued on investing in various resources in order to integrate our industry with academia, and one of it is the newly launched TV47, which we want to use. Just like what I have seen in Europe, what is called the Open University of UK, that it trains students online through using television. And in this, we have also brought in Telecom Kenya and also Microsoft Corporation in order to collaborate, in order to achieve our dream of ensuring that we deepen more in terms of open distance and electronic learning. As we sit here today, ladies and gentlemen, Kenyans and all of people in the world are marking the International Youth 2019 celebrations, which will take place in this country on 12th August 2019 in Kwale County. And I say that as a university, we are going to leverage with our collaboration with Telecom Kenya in order to support transformative education for the African youth as we mark this particular day. Promotion of innovation and entrepreneurship. I want to really urge our young people to believe in themselves. We have read quite a number of very many things that are also happening in our country we read about corruption, people who are in a hurry to get rich. I want to say that you can still walk the journey that I have walked and still reach where you want still to go. I remember in 2014, and the alumni student has talked briefly about it, when I was honored with the World Entrepreneur of the Year in Monaco, France. Of course, I made a commitment that every time I see a congregation like this with young people, I will always put that where you have come from, you can still reach your destination. Let us not destroy the institutions that have been built, even by our forefathers, by wanting to get rich. I want to say that you can still walk the journey and become yourself, exploit your potential, because I believe that there are 1,001 unexploited opportunities that we can all take advantage of without necessarily destroying our institutions for our selfish ends. And in this, I want to say I passionately support the Graduate Enterprise Academy that identifies the young entrepreneurs who would want to grow and become entrepreneurs, and we support them even in a smaller way. Today's theme, which is dubbed as the role of universities in enhancing sustainable development goals through community outreach programs. I want to say that we as Mount Kenya University, we have established Mount Kenya University Foundation that is supporting needy people once in a while. Once we identify needy people, we support them. And in this endeavor, we want to say that in this financial year, we are going to.
All right then, congratulations to all those who actually graduated. Now moving on, an outdoor activity recently introduced to Cairo by a local business offers Egyptians the chance to cycle on top of the water as they ride on the River Nile. The activity combines both the love for sport with and a workout with a picturesque scene as your backdrop. Let's take a look. Sitting in the middle of the water, Mab Ahmed moves the pedals on her bike to create the force that throttles her forward as she cycles on a water bicycle. To cycle while surrounded by water on all sides, a bicycle is fitted with floaters as part of a setup that adapts it to be used on water.
I wanted to start something new in Egypt. I was thinking of a project and I saw that all people were starting food businesses, but I wanted people to move and I wanted to do something that I personally could enjoy. So when I saw how it made me happy, I wanted to make others happy through it.
Any bicycle could be turned into a water bicycle, said Ahmed, who brought the outdoor activity to carriers through the Nile Bike, a business that she founded.
You're riding a bike. But first of all, you're riding a bike in the Nile. You can do anything you want. You can take a photo of yourself. You can stand on the bike. You can do anything.
But it is easier for people to show up without a bicycle because installing the kit that turns it into a water bike can take hours, she added.
When I introduced it to Egypt, the main challenges I faced were related to the nature of the Nile itself. We have tried it both in the Nile and in the sea, and it was fine in both cases. There were no problems, but due to the nature of the Nile, because of the trash or plastic, not all places work.
It takes a team to put together the water bike, and before the job is completed, the team carefully checks that all the parts have been fixed into place. Safety is key, the staff at Nile Bikes say, and being safe is one of the factors that are thoroughly considered when the team chooses its locations to cycle. Ahmed was looking for a project to start but wanted to stray away from food businesses and wanted to get people moving instead. She learned that people in Italy were using water bikes and decided to import some sets to start her business. Ahmed said the activity made her happy and she wanted to share it with other people so that they could enjoy it too. While the activity looks just like riding a bike, Sarah Abdelaziz, who has tried it, said it's not quite like cycling on the ground.
I was terrified at the beginning because I thought it was like riding a bike like we usually do on the ground. But I felt that with the bike on the water, that I could drown or something. But it turned out to be easy and not tricky at all.
The business charges 100 Egyptian pounds for half an hour of cycling in water. The activity means that cyclists in Egypt no longer have to stop at the water's edges and allow people to work out with the calm waters of the Nile as their backdrop. Right, very interesting story there on cycling on the Nile. I'm sure it's something that you'd actually like to try out yourself. Now moving on, hoteliers have condemned the recent Bamburi gang attack by the outlawed Wakali Kwanza gang with the hope that the attacks in Bamburi, Mombasa will have little or no impact on the region's all-important tourism industry, especially now that the onset of the peak season led by Pride in Managing Director, Coast Working Group Chairman Mr. Hasnain Norain Hoteliers. He says that they're not ready to see the group disrupt business in Mombasa, particularly at this time when they're receiving good number of bookings from Western countries' holiday makers. Now, the struggle of a mother to put food on the table is something particular to many, and for these Juakali single mothers, they know it too well. Catherine and Eva started cleaning both new and used sufurias 10 years ago as a means of earning a living. Vanessa Ndavi with more on that story.
Juakali is well known to many Kenyans as a place where one can get anything made, from cooking pots to a variety of customized products that meet individual specifications. More than 14 million Kenyans work in the informal sector, which translates to 83% of jobs available in the country. This is according to the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics. I'm here at the Kamukunji Juakali sector to speak to a group of women who are going to tell us exactly what they do.
Sasa wakimaliza kutengeneza, sisi tunaenda tunachukua, tukipewa na mwenye amempea fundi kasi, tunachukua tunakuja kumwoshea. Si ati za huko, ati zenye zimetupwa, lakini kuna zingine zinashikaga lasti sana.
Eva and Jerry ventured in the special cleaning business almost a decade ago. The cleaning is done using battery acid.
Natumia acid na groups tunafaa ndio tupate acid.
Charges for cleaning are based on the size of the pots. The bigger the pot, the more the charge.
Tunaosha kuna size tofauti na bei yake ni tofauti. Tunalipwa na vile size iko. Hiyo ndio ile tunafanya.
Despite the many challenges they face, this dynamic duo has chosen not to give up, not to give in, not to bow out, as this is their only source of livelihood.
Lakini tunaifurahia ukweli. Tangu tukuja, mtu hawezi lala njaa. Hata huwezi kosa pia ya kwenda mahali na tunapata sukari ya kupelekea wa msasi, anafurahia na kubariki.
With little capital and having to adjust to the hostile environment, many risks are taken and the lessons learned the hard way, leaving only the determined in the Juakali sector. Vanessa Ndavi, TV47, Nairobi.
Now, Kitui youth will now benefit from the opening of a textile plant in the area. The move by the county government to try and create jobs for those in the county will see many get employment opportunities, with the plant expected to boost the textile industry in the country.
Vic-County Textile Center that you all see behind me, and the work that is going on is slowly transforming and making us know that even when these young people have not gotten the highest levels of education, they are still able to do something very well and earn a living. They only needed to be given skills. We need to get technology like the machines that we have, train people, get the markets, and now we have the market, and now move forward with the work we are going to do.
Now, in a statement to ensure that they maintain dominance in the retail industry, Tusky's Supermarket has sought after the services of Daniel Kipchumba Koech, the retail sector that late last year pulled the plug on the rescue of Nakumatt has gone for the immediate former Nairobi Bottlers Limited Sales and Marketing Director, as they seek to have bragging rights over the retail sectors in the country, who now comes in as the Chief Marketing Officer in charge of marketing, business development and customer experience. Besides Daniel, they also went for Sylvester Kipto, who joins from Kenya Airways. Right now, time to take a short break, and when we come back, we have a guest in studio who will be demystifying and breaking down the tenderpreneur sector. And before we take a break, the question of the day today is, have you applied for a tender before? Have you applied for a tender before? How has the tendering and procurement process been for you? Tweet us to @TV47KE and @Lucy_Riley with the hashtag DaysCounterKE.
Na yote yanayofungana hufunguka. Kila kukicha mapya yanasawazisha jana na ya leo.
Bila shaka hatuwezi kubadili muundo wa maisha yako, lakini hakikisho letu kwako ni kwamba tutahakikisha asubuhi yako inaanza katika mpigo uliobomba zaidi.
Inakuwaje Kenya tufunge Tanzania baada ya mechi kuimiliki?
Tunarauka nawe kwa uchambuzi wa kina wa taarifa mbalimbali.
Tutaangazia kaunti mbalimbali moja baada ya nyingine.
Mazungumzo na majadiliano yanayokujenga wewe nafsi yako.
Hatutasahau burudani Jumatatu hadi Ijumaa.
Kenya, are you ready? It's coming big, better and beautiful. For the first time in history, Beauty of African International presents a festival of beauties in Kenya at the heart of Kakamega County. County queens will be on board to showcase creativity, culture, talent, skills, and their beautiful personalities. Who will be the first Kenyan queen to represent Kenya in Nigeria? Tickets go for 250 shillings, 1,000 shillings, and 2,000 shillings for regular, VIP, and VVIP respectively. Gracing the occasion as judges will be Miss International Kenya 2018, Miss Supranational Kenya 2018, and Miss Planet Burundi 2019. Miss Supranational Kenya 2019 will as well be crowned on the coronation night. Beauty of African International Pageant, a festival of beauties.
Mchipuko wa lugha geni umewafanya vijana kusahau lugha zao za kwanza.
Mimi na familia yangu ndiye jui. Hapa nakaa nao huku, wanasomea huku.
Anaona mbuzi, anaanza kusema, "Mom, look at this dog."
Wakati wa kitabu, hata wakati tulikuwa tunasoma wakati huo, tulikuwa tunasoma kitu ilikuwa inaitwa vernacular.
Ungana nami Paul Kirobi wiki hii kwenye kipindi cha Vijana Mashinani. Tujadili na kutatua jinamizi hili.
Naam, fuata nyuki ule. Dunia ni duara na yote yanayofungana hufunguka. Kila kukicha mapya yanasawazisha jana na ya leo.
Bila shaka hatuwezi kubadili muundo wa maisha yako, lakini hakikisho letu kwako ni kwamba tutahakikisha asubuhi yako inaanza katika mpigo uliobomba zaidi.
Inakuwaje Kenya tufunge Tanzania baada ya mechi kuimiliki?
Tunarauka nawe kwa uchambuzi wa kina wa taarifa mbalimbali.
Tutaangazia kaunti mbalimbali moja baada ya nyingine.
Mazungumzo na majadiliano yanayokujenga wewe nafsi yako.
Hatutasahau burudani Jumatatu hadi Ijumaa.
Mchipuko wa lugha geni umewafanya vijana kusahau lugha zao za kwanza.
Mimi na familia yangu ndiye jui. Hapa nakaa nao huku, wanasomea huku.
Anaona mbuzi, anaanza kusema, "Mom, look at this dog."
Wakati wa kitabu, hata wakati tulikuwa tunasoma wakati huo, tulikuwa tunasoma kitu ilikuwa inaitwa vernacular.
Ungana nami Paul Kirobi wiki hii kwenye kipindi cha Vijana Mashinani. Tujadili na kutatua jinamizi hili.
Kenya, are you ready? It's coming big, better and beautiful. For the first time in history, Beauty of African International presents a festival of beauties in Kenya at the heart of Kakamega County. County queens will be on board to showcase creativity, culture, talent, skills, and their beautiful personalities. Who will be the first Kenyan queen to represent Kenya in Nigeria? Tickets go for 250 shillings, 1,000 shillings, and 2,000 shillings for regular, VIP, and VVIP respectively. Gracing the occasion as judges will be Miss International Kenya 2018, Miss Supranational Kenya 2018, and Miss Planet Burundi 2019. Miss Supranational Kenya 2019 will as well be crowned on the coronation night. Beauty of African International Pageant, a festival of beauties.
Hello and welcome back. Thank you so much for choosing to stay with us here at TV47. Do follow us on all the social media platforms. And before we actually dive into the second section of this particular show, the question of the day today is, have you applied for a tender before? Have you applied for a tender before? How was the tendering and procurement process for you? Tweet us to at TV47KE and at Lucy_Riley with the hashtag DaysCounterKE. Now in studio with us, we've got Mr. John Odis Opondo, who is actually a tenderpreneur, and he's been in the space for quite some time, 20 plus years, but I'll allow him to actually introduce himself formally. And thank you so much. Welcome to the studio. How are you doing today?
Thank you very much. As you've said, my name is John Odis Opondo. I've been involved with this for quite some time. I've been in the market for long. That is the word I'll use.
Right, fantastic.
Yes.
So let's just dive right into it. Now, we've got many people who are interested or who usually want to get involved in the tendering process and securing these tenders and procuring and actually providing services, but they don't know where to start. Now, let's begin from the beginning. Where do you start?
Good question. You need to know what line you are. Which particular trade are you doing? Are you in IT? Are you in motor vehicle? Are you in food? Tenders are based on the categories that you do. Every institution, be it a corporate institution or a public sector, will identify a given category for that tender. So you need to be clear of what line you are tendering on.
Now that you are clear about the line you're tendering on, is this to mean that if you wanted to get started and you want to supply generally different things, you couldn't really get started because you're not yet quite specialized in a particular area? What if you wanted to start off, you want to do, perhaps it's IT, but the next time it's furniture and the next time it's stationery? Could you really do that?
You can do that if you have the money, but at the end of the day, there will be no expertise. Because at the end of the day, your customers should be satisfied. The end users should be satisfied. You can jungle do everything, but always speciality is good because you'll be able to know end to end. Are you giving the right product? Are you satisfying your clients? In the whole process, at the end of the day, the client has to win, has to get the right thing. So you need to tender what you understand, because in the tender, there'll be specifications. There'll be compliance. So if you're doing something you don't understand, it'll be difficult for you to comply. And when you don't comply, you'll fail. So it's always good to do something you specialize, where you have the expertise and you'll be able to compile your products well.
All right then. So now the next thing that is important to understand, do you need to probably register a company as an individual, sole proprietorship, or go into partnership with someone? Really now, what are the legal requirements for you to begin?
That is all covered in our Kenyan scenario. As per the Kenyan Procurement Act, that's all involved, right? There'll be the normal process where you need to have a company, can be a sole proprietor, partnership, or limited. When you have a company, that will have a name, because it will be your name will be trading. It will not be Lucy. It will be the name trading. When the name is trading, you'll be able now to identify a given institution you want to deal with. You can be dealing with the public sector, which is the government, which is the biggest buyer in the country because they have a huge budget. Or you can be doing the public sector or the other small SME businesses. In this scenario, you'll be able to introduce your company. After you have introduced your company, they'll always pre-qualify you to be in their schedule, right? Or they'll always make open tenders which are open to everybody, whereby everybody will be able to participate. In the process, there'll be evaluation. Depending on the product, this will flow. Yes. Right. So now that, you know, in the tendering process, there are several stages and you want to go in, but I want to take you back just a little bit. You talked about if you have the money, yes, then you can be able to do all these things. But so yes, what kind of money do you really need in order to go in the first place? Could you really do it if you don't have any money at all? And if it's realistic to do that, then where would your typical sources come from? True. Like in the Kenya government has given avenues for accessing these projects if you have money or don't have money, because the banks can also fund you. But there's some other projects that one can be able to do even with the minimum money, because it's about supplying and being paid. Some payment processes are long that might tie you, some are short. So money might not be a very big issue, depending on the project or on the product you're dealing with. I'll give you an example, like on imaging. You want to tender on imaging. In imaging, I mean printing or a photocopy, a multifunctional printer. There is a wide range from mid entry level to a production print. All these will have various price impact. Now, for a start, you see, you have a company, you have tendered, you have been awarded, you need to supply. Definitely there'll be a period. Like a tender will take like 60 days warranty period, yeah? In that process is when the tender process will start, it will be evaluated, it will be awarded, then you deliver, then you wait for payment. If you have a good financier, you can be funded because they can give you a loan for you to be able to supply as you wait for payment. If you have the money, you can be able to do that. So it's not about the money, because the product that you have will sell. At the end of the day, money will work, but what are you giving? Is it satisfying the customer? That is it. It's very interesting that you actually said that it's not really about the money when you're going in, because a lot of people, perhaps even youth that decide that they want to go in this particular line, they say that we don't have the money, so we can't get started, or they don't have it. So let's go back to the transparency. How really transparent is it when you're going in? Do you need to know those people that are inside in order to kind of push you and get you the tender and the tender documents and kind of pass it through? Do you think that this is what the case is, or really in reality, is it just straightforward, then always directly you get the tender? Thank you, Lucy. Before I go to that, I'll take you back to the youth. You have mentioned the youth. The government of Kenya has given a very good platform for the youth to participate in these tenders. If you look at any tender document in Kenya today, the youth, the women and the disabled, the conditions that are given to that particular category is not rigid. They are relaxed conditions, there are relaxed qualifications that can make youth, women, and people with disability to be able to participate in these tenders. And even funding is available, especially women groups, youth groups, who are joining up and be able to participate in these tenders. To come to your question about transparency, right? It's not about transparency or anything. It's about what are you able to do. Definitely there'll be issues here and there on the procurement process. If you look at the Kenyan government, we have the Public Procurement Act, the PPA, Public Regulatory Authority, whereby you're able to report, they're able to monitor projects going on. That's why you see people going into ethics and corruption, because that is a process that was faulted or was done in a wrong way. So it's not about knowing anybody, it's about what you are offering, how are you doing it. Definitely it will be an open tender. Yeah, price will be a factor. It has to be a market price, right? There'll be a process in the institution. If it's a government, there's a procurement process in government. If it is a public sector, they have their own process, right? So the process has to be followed to the letter. That does not mean it will be 100%. There'll be loopholes, but those are checked. At the end of the day, I've said it's about your product, your network, and how good your document is.
Now, before we get into the payment, when you're being paid and really how long you need to wait, talk to me about the pricing. When you're choosing or you're quoting, you're putting in your quotation really, what kind of areas, where can you go to in order to get that information to know that this is too low, this is too high, this is within a good range for me to actually set my price of quoting in order to actually get the tender?
Good question. That will take me back to you about the expertise, what you are doing. Are you qualified? Because when you're doing something that you're qualified, something that you're enjoying doing, you're able to know the market trend. You're able to know the statistics of what is happening. Like most of the products, like in my case, these are multinational companies, which you need to get the manufacturer authorizations up for you to get the price. The moment you have a tender, you will forward them the requirements to them. They'll be able to know this is the product that John or so-and-so needs, company X needs. What are you offering? Any tender will be very competitive. And one of the issues that makes it competitive is about the price. So it's about the market rate. That's why I always advise, do a tender that you are comfortable with, that you have the expertise. Like you say, you talk about having the money. You can have the money, you can employ the best team that does your tender, right? That advises about the tender, because they'll be able to know this is the bid bond, what will be the rate, this is your cost, delivery period, shipment period, inspection, all those factors will be considered. So it's about, it's just competitive pricing. That's my word.
Would you say that in some cases it's very competitive in the sense that if they've been supplied, or if a company has been supplied by a particular firm consistently over time, it makes it harder for anyone that's new in the market to come in and supply the same good and product to them?
True. You know, if anybody who is doing business and has an account will try to do his best. Every time they'll supply an equipment, try to make the equipment good to them, that will make the client tie with them. That will only bring a challenge when somebody new comes and sees what they're offering and offers something different. So it does not mean when you have an account and you are there throughout, you'll be there forever. It's about competition. Every customer, everybody that is buying from you will like the best. People are looking for comparing prices. People are comparing services. People are comparing how is your product. If I have a multifunctional printer, is it doing what I want? Is the latest model? So people will always check if you're giving the right thing. So when you are there for long, you're there for long because of your good service. You're there for long because of your good network. Some of these things are interrelationship between the sales key person, between the account manager and the client. Considering it's not just about tendering. You know, as you tender, there is also that link you have with the client. You have introduced yourself. You have gone there several to do demonstrations. They have come to your place for due diligence, understand? Yeah. To see what you have. You give them reference sites. They'll even go back and check the clients in the database who have your product and ask them, are you satisfied? Are they able? Check. That will be always helping you to get more business or stay in an account for long.
Right, that's very, very insightful. Now, let's go into the payment process. So you've done the tender, you've actually completed, and some you hear complaints from some people who are in this business that you know, they had to wait even up to 2 years just to get their payments, even up to 3 years, on some as fast as 2 weeks or a week. So really, what causes this delay, and what can be done in order to like push the delay and make it faster and more efficient?
Any institution that is buying from you will have a payment schedule. In that payment schedule, they should be able to pay you if everything was done on time. You are awarded, you're given an LPO, you delivered on time, inspections were done, you met their standards, started using, they should be able to pay you. In some cases, there'll be a delay if maybe they have their own internal issues. That's why it's always good, before you tender, you know the financial status. Because it can take long, for sure, because maybe they don't have money, you supply the wrong thing, inspection's not done, you know. So that makes the delay. But at the end of the day, there'll always be the payment period. Any institution you tell you will pay after 1 week, pay after 1 month, that process. Like in the Kenyan government, they have introduced a very good system, a very elaborate system called the IFMI system. I thank the government for that. I thank the president for that. That has been very good because you're able to monitor your payments. You're able to know the stage your payment is. You don't need to say, talk it kidogo, no. You get the point? That has been a very efficient process in the government. We should be able to monitor your payment from the time you delivered to the time you're paid.
Other than really the payments and the tediousness that's really required with you doing your research, what else could be a challenge that faces most people when they're going into tenderpreneurship and going into this particular space?
It's true. The main challenge will always be financing. People always complain of financing because you'll have a limitation on what you want to do. Some projects are huge projects that take time before conclusion, that you need to do site survey, do the installations, do the testings, you know, before everything closes up. The main challenges will always be the finance. Finance will be a big problem for most of the people. Lack of expertise, you know, people are doing the right thing. For example, I want to set up a CCTV system somewhere. Will I have the right team? Another challenge will also be the after-sale support. Am I able to follow up with my client with the after-sale support? That's why most institutions locally have got very elaborate help desk centers, whereby after selling an equipment out, they're able to follow up with the client how they're doing, developing SLAs, service level agreements with the client to tie the client. Most of these machines have warranties, yeah? Warranty after 1 year expires. Does your client suffer because you're not there? No. There'll always be a follow-up. So a challenge is, are you able to be consistent? The continuity matters. So that most people will not be able to do, because most people will have to do business and forget. Yes.
Right. Earlier on, we talked about the youth, persons with disabilities, and women. And you find that other than these, we have lack of awareness, or really just ignorance, not knowing how to go about it and actually partake in the activities and know what needs to be done. And even partner with other people who might have the worst intentions for these people who are lacking the information. So what can be done in order to like really educate, other than self-educating? Because we can continue to say that the youth themselves or the women or the persons with disabilities can go out and get the information, but you find that still there is that challenge of taking advantage of that which is set aside, say the 30%. So what can be done, or what should they do in order to actually see that the opportunity is there and take advantage of it?
Good. Information is power. I always tell you, in any business, you have to take the challenge. And as a salesperson, you have to go out and look for the information. Use your network. Use your experience. If you don't have experience, if you walk into any government, I like to repeat about government. Because the government of Kenya is really encouraging the youth, people with disability, and women to engage in business. Women make the largest population around us, right? So they are able to get information. If you walk to any institution, just walk in, ask for procurement department. They'll always advise you accordingly. Apart from the normal awareness, trainings, workshops, which will be involving, not most of us will be able to be there. Not everybody has a smartphone. If you're interested of doing business in any institution, walk in. Always ask for the procurement department. There'll be several categories. They can tell you, we want somebody who's giving us peppers every day. We want somebody to bring us drinking water every day. Start from there. Give your card, give your number. They'll be able to get back for you.
Right. So very interesting that you say just walk in and ask what is available. Yes. What is available?
What is available? What are you doing?
Right. And so today, for example, we have several people are graduating from the institutions, and even this has continued year in, year out, but we continue to see the disparity and the numbers increase, those who are employed versus those who are unemployed, those who can actually earn a substantial or a decent amount of money for a living. Now, it seems, as you portray, that it should be something that when you get into it, you should be able to actually get the opportunity and get the tenders. Would you advise anyone who is graduating to take this route in order to create an income for themselves? And when it comes to financing, these are two questions. When it comes to financing, other than, you know, trying to reach out to banks, perhaps they don't already have the papers, they don't have the support from the family and friends where they can, it's called getting capital from those who are around you. What really can they do in order to be able to get the finances that are necessary for them to go in that line of path?
True. I always put it clear, experience matters. Anybody graduating, I'll always tell them, when you come to the market has people who already experienced the market.
Absolutely.
That's why I will always insist on any graduates who doesn't have much expertise on this, who have not done on this, internship. Through internship, you can develop it, right? You can build your network. You know, selling, today I can sell you a pen, Lucy, right?
Right.
And I forget about you.
Okay.
To me, a sale is not a sale until I have an after sale. Because from an after sale, I'll have referrals. That's why people move from company A to company B, like that. So always people graduating, best opportunities, internship.
So you're advising them to actually get internship to learn how this procurement process is really done, and not expect much at the moment, and really just stay in it and see how it's done before getting started themselves.
Yes. Also financing, as I've said. People can come up in groups, right? Make groups, look for finance. Or even, you see, some of the services we offer are services that don't require equipment. These are expertise that you have. You can go and install a multifunctional printer, you know. These are services you can offer technically. And I'll give it credit to the technical sector. You know, like me, I have a background in the technical sector. There's some tendering that with your technical expertise, it only needs your brain. So when you partner with the people who are able to marshal the project, you're able to play a big role. Sorry to take you back. For any tender you see advertised, for any tender running, there are a lot of the things happening in the background in the institution before it is tendered. They have to get the right thing. They have to get the right technical specifications in the background. They have to get the budget, you know. So what I mean is that the technical expertise is very important to be able to know what is required.
Right, and now that you've mentioned technical expertise, do you think that with the current system that we have, the education system, it's really equipping and setting up the youth and the young people for this particular market and for that kind of experience with the kind of training and the kind of learning and exposure that they have to their disposal? Do you think that it's good enough, or there's more that the individual needs to do, or the government needs to do, or the private sector?
I'll not say it's not enough. Yeah, so now because it will be most tenders currently in the country, those people are awarded, you'll find that those are with money, right? Because they're able to set up a team to do that tender, to map that tender, to lobby for that tender, to be able to be awarded. Right. So they still need more to be done. That's why I will always say that more will only be done with ourselves, right? Yeah. That's where the internship comes. That's where your network comes. That's where you're able to know what is currently needed. What is you know, everybody can sell milk, right? But you'll always go to a particular shop. I remember when I was young, my mother in Transoya used to send us in the morning to go and buy bread. Right. But when I leave the house, there are so many shops. But I always go to a particular shop.
A specific one.
Yes. Yeah. So that is what I mean. Yeah. Right. We are so many, but how you do it matters.
Okay. Yes. Thank you so much, Mr. John, for actually that insightful session, and I hope our viewers at home actually were able to get as much information as possible. That was the topic on tenderpreneurship, and if I can just summarize, being consistent, knowing what line of path you're going to go into, walking into the shops and actually asking them, or the businesses, asking them what they need, and staying consistent. Now, you've been watching The Day's Counter. I've been your host, Lucy Riley, and thank you so much for interacting with us on all the social media platforms. That's Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, at TV47KE, and my name, Lucy_Riley. Follow us on all the social media platforms. See you for the next particular news item. Thank you. That was very good.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Na yote yanayofungana hufunguka. Kila kukicha mapya yanasawazisha jana na ya leo.
Bila shaka hatuwezi kubadili muundo wa maisha yako, lakini hakikisho letu kwako ni kwamba tutahakikisha asubuhi yako inaanza katika mpigo uliobomba